Hello everybody, welcome to LiveFit Kitchen. We are joined by Dr. Andrea Purcell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Alicia, and thank you, everyone.
We are making the most fabulous turkey tacos, healthy turkey tacos. Now we had to start cooking because obviously some of this stuff takes a little longer, so you can see the steam rising from the pan here. We have the first of our ingredients underway. Whew. So take us through it.
All right, let's talk about these ingredients. Now, don't be intimidated by the list of them. They're all very important, though. So for our healthy turkey taco recipe, we're starting with 2 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, 4 leaves of lettuce, which you may be able to see here on the table, a half of a fresh jalapeno pepper diced, 1 medium onion chopped, a half of a green bell pepper, 1 celery stalk, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 pound of fresh ground turkey, 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, 1 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, a half of a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, a half of a teaspoon of Bragg's amino acids, and salt, pepper, and hot sauce to taste.
Okay, so obviously that is a really long list, but the cool thing about this is that a lot of those ingredients are things that you might be using in other recipes. They're not kind of, random out there ingredients. They're things that you're likely to have in your house at least some of the time.
She's right.
So, and they're things that, the leftovers, like you're using 1 stalk of celery in this recipe, you might use celery in a salad tomorrow. So it's stuff that's really easy to use up. We needed to get started with cooking down some of the ingredients. Whoops, we better turn that down. What we started with was the onion, the pepper, and the jalapeno pepper. This is half of it. Half is left, and that's just over maybe an inch, almost 1.5 inches long. So the pepper itself was about this size, chopped really small, seeds removed. The green bell pepper, once I chopped it up, made about a half a cup of chopped pepper. And the garlic, I am, of course, using my favorite crushed garlic from Trader Joe's. 1 teaspoon is equivalent to a couple of cloves of crushed fresh garlic. So all of those have been cooking down in here. Hopefully I didn't miss anything.
So in the pan is the celery, the jalapeno pepper, the bell pepper, the onion, and did you put the olive oil in there?
The olive oil, I heated that first and I added the onion and then all of those other items and sauteed it. And it's been going for about 5 or 6 minutes so far. It says 7 tops, and that looks like it should be just about done. So the next thing to do, I'm sorry.
You know that it's done when the onions become a little bit translucent.
Good point, yes, and they are indeed. So the next thing we need to do is to add the turkey. Now you want to make sure that you fully cook turkey. Some things you can eat a little rare. Turkey, I wouldn't recommend. So that goes in next, and you want to chop that up and keep moving it around and breaking up the cooked parts until it is cooked all the way through. Now you may have noticed from the color of this turkey, I went with the 99% fat-free. There is of course also a 93% fat-free variety. This is just what they happen to have today, and that's what I grabbed.
And so let's talk a little bit about turkey versus beef as Alicia's cooking that, because she does want to make sure, as she mentioned, that it's cooked all the way through. There's actually a lot of debate out there about what's better. If you look at the 90% lean beef versus the 90% lean turkey, pretty much head to head, the fat, carbohydrate, and protein ratio is all the same. And so often people will say, oh, turkey's healthier. Well, you have to be really careful and read the labels. A lot of times, as Alicia mentioned, she bought the 99% lean turkey, which you may not be able to find 99% lean ground beef. You may only be able to find 98. So in that case, turkey would be the healthier option. The problem with turkey is that you have to season it very well. And for example, another night we'll make turkey burgers, but the key is to really cook the turkey so it's not dry, because once we've had a dry turkey, for example, if you've ever tried just a turkey burger patty with nothing else in it, gosh, it's boring, it's dry, and you're thinking, why am I doing this? So the most important thing about this recipe is these are actually some very delicious turkey tacos, is the seasoning that goes in, which is why we do have this long list of ingredients, but it really pays off in the end as we're eating some delicious tacos.
Indeed. Now this is going to take a little longer to cook. As this turkey is cooking through. Now I did chop everything very, very small so that it really mixes in well with the turkey. So as we keep going here.
So it's about 8 minutes or so as she's stirring the pot and making sure all the turkey is cooked. And then what we do want to do once all the turkey is cooked is we want to introduce some of the other ingredients to our saucepan.
And could you believe that apple cider vinegar is in this recipe? I was so impressed when I saw that. I thought, wow, check that out. And the other ingredient that you might not be so familiar with is this Bragg's amino acids. This is absolutely nutrition plan friendly, and it has a lot of flavor, but don't be thinking because it looks like soy sauce that it tastes like it. It surely does not.
I think it does.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we could not be more different.
I use it as a soy sauce replacer all the time.
Yeah, see, somebody sold it to me as, oh, you can use it instead of soy sauce. It's just the same. No, it's delicious. You can use it in place of soy sauce, but I don't think it tastes like it.
It's your choice.
It really is. Why don't you taste it and you can let us know what you think. Okay, so this is nearly but not quite cooked all the way through. With turkey, you want to make sure that there's no pink left.
No pink.
When you're finished cooking. I think that the next thing I'm going to ask Santa for LiveFit Kitchen is going to be a bigger saucepan. Because I am just making a mess all over the place, which I do at home too, but I don't know, it just seems even messier when it's on camera, doesn't it? Look at that, it's just all over the place. Luckily Willow's here in the background, I'm sure she'd love to come clean up. Okay, so as this is cooking, tell us about some of the other ingredients.
All right, so Alicia's about to add the tomato sauce, which is going to be a nice juicy component of this. We're also adding some tomato paste. So those of you who have worked with tomato paste before, tomato paste acts as a thickener, and it's really very LiveFit recipe friendly because it has very low caloric intake and it adds a lot of oomph to a recipe. At that point, we're also going to add the apple cider vinegar and the Bragg's, and all of these things are going to be adding flavor to our turkey, and that's very important because, as I mentioned, turkey can be a little bit dry.
It really is. You'll notice as you're cooking it, I'm sort of getting to the point where it's just about done, and it really is pretty dry in the pan here. I'm going to be very, very glad to
99% fat-free.
I know.
No fat in there.
I wondered about that as I bought it too, because normally I would go with the slightly fattier one for the fat and the flavor.
So the good news is with this recipe, the tomato sauce is going to take over and really keep it nice and juicy. The other thing that's really lovely about this recipe is that when you're on a low-carb plan, you can put the tacos into your lettuce leaves and roll them up and have lettuce tacos. But you can also serve this meal to your family, and you can serve it on sprouted buns and make like a sloppy joe type of thing. So this is one of those recipes that's very versatile and will make any member of the family happy depending on how you serve it.
I bet this would also go great in those brown rice tortillas we all like so much. So this is now cooked through. Amazingly, this recipe only called for 4 lettuce leaves to make turkey tacos, and you can see I have an enormous pan of turkey here. I don't know where you would get 4 lettuce leaves that would be big enough to hold.
You're supposed to share it with your friends and your family.
I suppose you are, yes. So, okay, so here we go. Oh, that just smells so good.
All right, in goes the tomato sauce.
Now this is going to be allowed to cook for a little while. The tomato paste is going to act as a thickener, as you said, and this is all going to reduce down a little bit.
This is also great the next day. So
Ooh,
one of the important things that I talk to my patients about is the fact that when they're making a meal that they have some left over to have for lunch the next day, because all of us are leading busy lives and none of us have the time to make each meal fresh as we go along. So this, you know, you have a nice pan of it, have a couple of tacos, you know, lettuce leaves for dinner and save the rest for lunch the next day. And I would probably pair it with some nice thinly sliced cabbage and it'd be really delicious.
That would be delicious. And the great thing about this is if you were cooking for a small army, if everybody's come home for the holidays or something and you had a lot of people to feed, this would be one of those recipes that's really easy to just multiply out. So long as you have a big enough pan, you'd be able to make a lot of this and it would work just fine. Okay, so the tomato paste and the tomato sauce has gone in.
So that's cooking in.
And we have some apple cider vinegar and some amino acids to add.
And then what you really want to do with this recipe so that the turkey absorbs all the flavor is then set it on simmer, cover it so that it starts to absorb all the juices and its own flavor, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so here we go. Half a teaspoon of the amino acids.
Half a teaspoon of each.
And where's my little half? Here we go. This has a very strong flavor. Really, half a teaspoon is a lot. Okay, I didn't miss any ingredients, right? We just have some hot sauce and salt and pepper to taste.
That's right.
Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll let this stir in and we'll taste it, and then we'll decide about the hot sauce, because knowing me, I have a pretty heavy hand with the hot sauce.
The other thing about jalapeno peppers, and I'm sure you've noticed this at home if you've cooked with them, is that some of them can be quite mild and some of them can be quite spicy. And so you never know what kind of jalapeno you're going to get.
So I actually wondered about that myself. I wondered how spicy the one I bought today was. And so after I'd finished chopping it, I just touched my finger to my tongue to see where I was on the heat index. This one was about in the middle.
I also recommend chopping the jalapenos with gloves on, because if you do get a spicier one, the oils from the jalapenos will get into your skin and it will make you feel like your skin is on fire. That happened to me a while back, and I learned from one of my Latino friends that all you need to do is put fresh lemon juice on your hands and it will neutralize the acid of the jalapeno peppers.
No way. I wish I had known that. They were called Black Death peppers.
Yeah.
I got it on my hands. They burned unbelievably to the point where I almost wanted to go to the hospital all night.
Yeah. And you had your hands in a bucket of cold water too, and nothing relieved it. Yeah,
nothing helped.
Same thing
I tried
happened to me.
rubbing milk on my fingers. I tried doing everything. The next morning, the burning had eased off somewhat. I started cooking my eggs for breakfast. The heat from the pan brought the burning back in my fingers. And again, the following day, day 3, still burning. Yeah, not impressed. Now we know, lemon juice.
Fresh lemon juice.
Very important. Okay, so let's taste this. Normally, of course, we would let this simmer just a little longer, and then we would try out the hot sauce and the salt and pepper. And the neat thing about the hot sauce is, of course, that you can serve the non-spicy eaters and then add hot sauce to yours.
That's right.
Okay, so let's get a little taste test going here. Doesn't that look pretty?
Very nice.
All
and
right.
then, of course, we can spoon it into our lettuce leaf.
Absolutely.
So if you choose the romaine lettuce, they have some really nice leaves that can be easily wrapped up into a taco.
Okay.
I'll just try it right out of the bowl for now.
I wondered if you were going to attempt that. I'm going to make myself a little mini wrap. I've got to try it. What do you think? Hot sauce, salt and pepper?
All of the above.
Really?
Hot sauce, salt and pepper, but good.
And how much salt? Are we talking just a sprinkle?
Just a little sprinkle.
Okay. So not by the handful, just a sprinkle.
And for those of you at home, I would let this simmer for about 7 or 8 more minutes to absorb the flavors.
Really
for the
let it sit
purposes
through?
of this, yeah, we just kind of quickly cooked it.
Okay, so remember when you're simmering, it's simmering, not boiling away. So turn it right down low and just kind of let it sit in its own juices. So let me
All right,
try
here she
this
goes.
here.
Let's try it.
Oh, I'm quite excited.
And her mini lettuce leaf.
I know, this is a recipe that I could really make a mess with.
Juicy, right?
Really, really good.
It's a keeper.
It is a keeper. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.